Greetings, dear, precious, magnificent, eternal, powerful, talented, genius, divine soul that you are. I know. My topic, the advantage of being self-educated. See, my system, I've trained many people as spiritual healing practitioners and ministers and seminar leaders and motivational speakers and all of that. Hundreds of people like that. And how I did most of my work, besides the knowledge they needed, was also to have them participate in the job itself. How to do a job, you have to, it's not just an intellectual thing, it's you get the practice of doing it, such as if they wanted to be a minister of a church, then it'd be a really good idea that you know all the different aspects of it and you work in every single department and you learn how to do it. That's how you do it. It's the old program of mentoring. Or the journeyman. My stepdad, who built these beautiful two-masted sailboats along with my mom, just really great. He, was self-educated. He taught himself how to do that, and he could build houses. My son-in-law David, he builds houses. He learned from his father. He learned by building houses. He didn't go to school to learn how to build houses in a certain way that they want at school. One of my friends, Barry Burkus, many years ago, he was going to USC, I believe, a School of Architecture, and they didn't like him because he wouldn't play by the rules. So he left. He set up his own architectural firm, and he hired people who had their architectural license and did his own work anyway, and eventually got, all the honorary, degrees. I have quite a few of those, honorary PhDs and sort of thing like that, because of the work. Because of the work that he did, not because he followed the instructions in an institution, but you have to look at who is paying for the institution, who's writing the curriculum, who's writing the textbooks, who's saying that this is the way it's supposed to be and the only way it is, and that's how that programming goes for humanity when they take instruction like that, even though there's some value there. In fact, I loved school. I went to school in Newport Beach. We had great choirs, we had theater, we had sports, so for me, I had a wonderful time because I got to and have great people and do a lot of good things. But anyway, I didn't go too long to the into the university or college thing, because to me it was boring to be able to taking courses and classes I'm not even interested in. And so that's why then I went into my spiritual work, and then went through a spiritual seminary to learn the philosophy and the teaching and such. But it wasn't until I actually did my own research on successful churches and spiritual centers and how they operate and what they're supposed to do, I had to educate myself. And I was really in for win-win. And that was my whole divine experiment when I built my ministry. And it started with about 25 people attending church on a Sunday, and it came very quickly to thousands of people, and an international television ministry serving millions of people that I then knew was time to continue on my own spiritual work in about 1985. And so anyway, cold air kind of makes my nose run a little bit. Anyway, when the advantage of being self-educated is that you can find the greatest teacher. So for instance, when I was actually singing and learning to sing more, and my husband was at the time going to USC, University of Southern California, and so I then was involved there with the music program. And I had a great teacher, William Bernard. He was a really nice voice teacher, but it was okay. And he did a good job, I'm sure. But anyway, so when I went to, and I studied with a few people, but then when I really wanted to develop my voice, then the name that came to me was Maestro David Kyle when I was living in Seattle. So he had, pictures all over his walls of everybody he had ever worked with. And he actually had the most magnificent system. It's what was used by Caruso, Pavarotti, Maria Callas, Benomino Gigli, and all of these great people. And he had platinum records of even heavy metal people that studied with him, because they have to train the voice classically for whatever you want to do, or you ruin the voice because the person doesn't know what to do. So it doesn't mean I didn't seek knowledge, but you seek knowledge from people who are already expert at what they do, that they know how to do it because they've done it. Like, people will come to me and say, oh, I like working with you because you've done so many things. Yeah, I don't have these limitations to think that you can't do it. You can do anything that you have your heart into because you have those capabilities. And the beautiful thing, my daughter Rebecca had homeschooled my granddaughters up to college. And these girls are magnificent human beings, and they both have great work that they do. They're wonderful people. They're creative. They're wonderful with people and all of this. And my daughter didn't want to go to college. She said to me one day, Mom, I want to be a mother and a wife and have children and do it. I said, great, do it. And then, so she and Dave have been together 35, 36, 7 years, however it's been long. And they still like each other. It's great. And they have fun, and they're with their family and their children. And they're also entering in new levels. See, because we start on new things. So the great advantage of actually being your own educator, in fact, Buckminster Fuller, who wrote many books, but he, the buckyballs and his idea of that molecule, perhaps, and how you build certain geodesic domes and structures. But his book, Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth, had a lot of interesting, valuable information on that. And so I had him speak at my spiritual center, my church. Also got to spend time with Bucky and take seminar with him, and got to be around someone who his goal was to find out what one person could accomplish without a formal education. And the problem with the formal education, they give you a little square to put on your head because it's a box, it's a cube. And you look at when there is a cube that is being worshipped, it's a box, a mirrored box, where the world is like, say if you've got a whole bunch of mirrors in one room, and all these mirrors are taking your body, they go out into infinity in every single direction. That's not a good thing either. You don't want mirrors facing each other and around. It's not a good idea. You bring in bad energy that way. But anyway, so when you do box cube thinking is in the box. It makes boxes. And then certain belief systems, they make boxes. And then people have these reality boxes, these story boxes that they live in, that they believe is all that's possible, and they can't do anything else because they're not smart enough, they're not good enough, they've got the wrong body type, the wrong color type, they're too tall, too short, they're too old, too young, too overqualified, to not qualified enough. And all of this is complete insanity. That is not who we are. And when you take a look at, with your children being homeschooled, you find the things that they like to be interested in, and then you find the people who are demonstrating that, those people who are that, who happen to be also wonderful teachers that can give the person the knowledge, but they don't control how that person is going to express it, because we are unlimited, really, and all of what we can accomplish has to do with what we focus on and what's important to us and what you want to do. So you don't need a formal education, yet a lot of people have to do it to get the degree, because otherwise they're going to say you can't do it. And then what do? They take the most natural thing and then institutionalize it. So if you don't practice it this way, you're not okay. And you want to basically protect your children, no matter what. If you're going to have a child, you better protect your child. And you better, and because you don't want to bring somebody else into this world who's going to go through the torture that is happening to children in the world and happening to people who are being corralled, you might say, as you can see all the narratives and all the work and all the fear. Oh, there's so much violence. We better have one place that just decides everything so you live in peace. No. You start living in peace when you stop eating animals, number one. And you stop tormenting yourself through the mind or the minds of others. You stop believing what other people are saying. You stop trusting everybody and everyone except your own inner knowing. So this is an individual thing. You've got to take command of your own mind, take command of your own life, take command of whatever it is that you want to do. And then to be inspired, yes, you can study those lives of the people who are great inspirations because they usually step out from the crowd. And they usually are those individuals that oftentimes we say, we don't want any individuals around here. We want everybody, a worker bee, a worker ant, doing what they're told to be doing and working on an assembly line or a corporate, what would you call it, fast foods restaurant or any of that sort of thing. That's what your life is about, so that you can survive and have food on the table for another miserable day. Hey, this is your life to live as you choose. And I would just totally encouraging you to take it, to own it, and to be it. All is possible for you, my darling. Hugs.